How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Positive Mindset Podcast, where we work together to raise our vibration, lift our perspective, and build a positive mindset. My name is Henry, and in this episode, we're going to talk about exactly that, how to have a positive mindset in any situation, whether you're dealing with negative family members, stressful things at work, or just general life has got you down. In this episode, we're going to break down what a positive mindset is and how you can apply it to your life so that you can live in happiness and inner peace. But before we get started, we're going to take a few moments to slow down, zero in. We're going to take some deep, healing, meditative breaths to help us align on the frequency that we want in our lives. So we can pick a word. It could be love, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever frequency you want. And we're going to take a deep breath in. And as you're breathing in, you're going to say that word over and over and over again. Really charge yourself up with that energy. And then as you're holding your breath, visualize yourself doing something in that frequency. And then once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And out. All right, well, we're going to do another deep breath. This one is about alignment, about getting ourselves in receiving mode so that we can receive the message that we need to hear today to get us in that positive perspective. So just imagine that you are surrounded by the most healing, uplifting energy that's meant specifically for you. It could have a certain color, a certain taste, a certain smell, however you imagine it. And when you breathe it in, it's going to charge you up. It's going to break down the negativity, the blocks, the weight, everything that's just been holding you back. And then once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in. And out. So recently, there's been a lot of new listeners to the podcast, and I've been getting some really great messages, and I appreciate it all, but it had me thinking about just what the basic message here is, the positive mindset, what that is, because so many people are looking for a positive mindset because they're in a negative space, they're feeling down, they're hurt, they're going through pain, like they're in an energy that they no longer want to be in. And so what attracts them to this podcast, at least what I believe, is because a positive mindset sounds like, oh, well, I'll feel good. I'll be positive about things. I'll have positive energy within me. And yes, that can be a result of a positive mindset, but I really wanted to break down what having a positive mindset is, and when you have it, how it will help you live with inner peace and feel good no matter what external things are happening. A positive mindset does not mean that you will be happy all the time. You will have grief. You will go through pain. You'll feel hurt. You'll be angry. You'll have all these things. But a positive mindset allows you to navigate through it, to see the other side, to grow from every single thing that happens to you. So that's why it's so important that we break down this positive mindset. So I want you to imagine your mind. So just you could imagine yourself sitting, laying down, like however you are at this very moment. Think about where your mind is. And then think about frequencies going through it, like radio waves. And that's where you operate. And this is just, for our imagination, but it's to help us understand what a positive mindset would do. So you're operating at your current state, whatever that frequency is. And so everything you see is based on that frequency. You are going to see that frequency everywhere. That's what you're going to be attracted to. And so when something happens to you, all you'll be able to see is what is most relevant to you at that time. But what a positive mindset will give you is a higher frequency. So if you think about this shift as if there was lines on a paper, if you think about a piece of paper that you write on, the very top of it is the highest frequency, love. At the very bottom, that's not the opposite of love. That's not pain. That's not negativity. That's just distance from love or absence of love. Because that's when we hurt. That's when we feel bad. That's when we feel lost. And we're having that absence of love. So we're operating somewhere on this page. Our frequency is operating somewhere, and that's where the comfort of the frequency is, the homeostasis of our energy. And when you have a positive mindset, that just means your frequency is up higher on the page. And the higher your frequency is, the more you see. When something happens to you, you are no longer only perceiving the direct effect of you, you're able to see further out. So the higher up you go, the more you can see. And the more you can see, the more you can understand. And the more you can understand, the more you can forgive. The more you can forgive, the easier it is to stay at peace and be in that love frequency. They go hand in hand. You can't be in the love frequency and not forgive. Because if you can't forgive, you're going to get tied to every other frequency that you're locking into. The frequency that you can't forgive is going to be the frequency that you're stuck in. And one thing that we really have to understand is that our operational frequency has nothing to do with our success on this earth. There are plenty of people that have tons of money, they're famous, they're rich, they are great at their jobs. Like there's all these people that succeed on this earth, but their frequency is not very high. And they're walking around miserable, they're walking around in pain, they're walking around hurt, they're walking around in fear. And that's not the case for everybody, but it certainly does exist. And I know that because I've worked with them as clients. I have worked with people that have every single thing that most of us think would solve all problems. They have enough money to where they really can't run out. They own their own business, so they don't have to worry about getting fired. They have their health, they have, looks, they have all these things, but yet they're still lost. They're still operating negatively. So we have to separate this earth success, these earth situations. Maybe you're dealing with a tough spouse. Maybe you're dealing with hard things at work. Maybe you're dealing with a health issue. Whatever it is, that is still a distraction from what your energy is. Your energy is separate from this experience. That's why everything can be going good and you feel terrible inside. It could be the most beautiful day. The sun could be out. The birds can be singing. Like everything can be perfect and you feel empty on the inside. Or the reverse, everything could be terrible and you feel just fine. It's because they're not, or they don't at least have to be, connected. So if you want a positive mindset, you have to visualize an energy like operating at a frequency much higher that always loves and always forgives. Now, it's one thing to know what that is. The next thing is, how do you get there? That's what people want. That's what I want. That's what I'm working towards. And that's why I want to share it. Because I believe in being in the flow of something. If we just learn something, but we don't share it, then it's staying within us and we're not able to expand past that. It's like we become a dam. We just fill up with that one frequency. We want to be in flow state with it. And that's why I'm sharing my experience. I'm definitely not an expert. I'm someone that's just on a quest. But if you want to raise your energy, this is what it feels like. When you start practicing gratitude, meaning you're finding things to be thankful for where it's difficult. When everything is terrible, you're looking for the one thing to be thankful for, even if it doesn't affect you. An example would be, maybe you're dealing with an illness and it's a really bad illness, but you sign up for a trial. You're going to do a trial on a new drug or something like that, and you start taking the drug and it doesn't help. You're still sick or even sicker. The benefit is clearly not for you, but they're able to make adjustments to the treatment. Maybe they need to add more of this or more of that, and they're able to adjust and make it better. And maybe in the future, this treatment becomes viable and it helps somebody else. That's an example of finding gratitude where there is none, because you could easily be upset that it didn't work for you. There may be no help for you because it may not be solved for 10, 20 years and you may not have that long. But practicing gratitude will be able to find the positive even outside of yourself. And when you do that, when you bring it into your mind, you are creating that energy. And when you create an energy, you are that energy. So that's why gratitude is so important. Forgiveness is just as powerful. When you forgive, you're not doing it for the person you're forgiving. Of course, it is a powerful gift to give, but you're doing it for you. When you forgive, when you truly forgive, not just say it, truly let something go, and you're able to love them as if it never happened. That doesn't mean you have to be around them anymore. It doesn't mean that there isn't consequences to what they did. But when you're able to do that, you're freeing yourself from being attached to that energy. So those are two ways that you can grow and raise your frequency. But when you start going on this path, it's not smooth. You don't just level up without any steps back. Think about this. Say you were going to become a runner. You want to run races. You want to be really fast. The first time you go for a run, it's pretty darn difficult. But you moved faster than you normally walk. So you were going faster. Leveling up our frequency is exactly like that. When you raise your frequency, it's operating at a level that you're not used to. but you're not used to it. So your energy is going to run out and you're going to drop back down. And when you go back down, you're even more tired than you were before you started. And that's why practicing forgiveness, that's why practicing gratitude, doing all the things to level yourself up, eventually exhausts you. Because you're operating at a frequency you're not used to, just like running for the first time or the second time or the first month, and then you get tired. But the next time you go to run, you're able to run a little bit faster and a little bit faster. And then you're running for a little bit longer and faster and longer and faster and longer the more you do it. It's the same with your frequency. The more time you put in, the more practice you do in gratitude and love and forgiveness, the easier it will be in the frequency. The further you'll be able to see, the higher your energy will resonate and the more often you'll be in that state. So let's practice everything. Practice forgiveness, be in love with everything. Again, that doesn't mean there's not consequences to things that happen, but we love them despite what the event is. Let's forgive others. Let's use that gratitude to create the positive in our lives that maybe doesn't exist, even if it's something way down the future that's not really going to benefit you. Find that positivity, be the creator of it, and be the rising tide that lifts all ships. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode makes sense. I know it was kind of two ideas into one, but I've just been getting so many new listeners, and I really wanted to say this and break it down. So hopefully it resonated with you and hopefully inspired you a little bit with your journey in knowing that you're not messing up and you're exactly where you need to be. And if you want to make sure you don't miss a single episode, make sure you subscribe to my email list. There's a link in the description. It'll keep you up to date with every single episode. And if you want to follow me on social media, there's my Instagram and TikTok down below. I appreciate all the follows there. And of course, the direct messages on Instagram mean the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for everyone that has reached out and let me know how the podcast has impacted them. Well, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.